against the hospital windows like 1,000 tiny fists, rattling the glass as nurses rushed through the corridors of Seoul Central Medical Center. Inside the emergency wing, alarms screamed, doctors shouted orders, and stretchers rolled past in a blur. In the middle of the chaos stood Amina Okafor. Her braids were tied into a tight bun under her surgical cap, dark eyes sharp with focus as she pressed gauze against a patient's arm. "Pressure is dropping!" a doctor yelled. "I'm holding it." Amina snapped back, her voice steady despite the sweat running down her temple. The patient groaned. "Stay with me," she whispered softly. "You're not dying tonight." After 12 brutal hours on shift, the emergency room finally began to quiet. Machines beeped slower, footsteps faded. The storm outside only grew louder. Amina peeled off her gloves and leaned against the counter, exhaustion hitting her all at once. Her coworker Mincio walked over with 2 paper cups of vending machine coffee. "You look like you fought a war," Mincio said, handing her one. Amina laughed weakly. "Feels like it." Mincio studied her for a moment. "You still walking home in this storm?" Amina glanced toward the window where rain flooded the streets. "I don't really have a choice." "You should call a taxi." "I tried," she sighed. "Nothing's accepting rides right now." Mincio frowned. "You'll get soaked." Amina shrugged, already grabbing her bag. "I grew up in Lagos. This rain is nothing." But as soon as she stepped outside the hospital doors, she realized she had underestimated Seoul storms. The rain was violent. Wind whipped through the parking lot. Cars splashed through deep puddles. Amina pulled her thin coat tighter and ran toward the hospital parking area. "Just get home," she muttered. Her apartment wasn't far, but tonight every streetlight flickered and the cold bit into her skin. Then she saw it, a black car parked near the curb, the back door slightly open, warm yellow light glowing from inside. She slowed. Someone forgot to close their door. Thunder cracked overhead. Without thinking much, Amina rushed over. "So sorry," she said as she slipped into the back seat, dripping water everywhere. "Can you please drive me toward—" Her voice died instantly. Because she wasn't alone, a man sat beside her, tall, silent, watching her. His dark suit was immaculate despite the storm, sharp cheekbones, cold, unreadable eyes, the kind of presence that made the air feel heavy. Amina froze. "Oh my God," she whispered. The driver in front slowly turned his head. His expression was not friendly. "You entered the wrong vehicle." Amina's heart slammed against her ribs. I thought this was a taxi." The man beside her hadn't spoken yet. He simply watched her, studied her. Then finally his voice came low and calm. "You're not a taxi passenger." Amina quickly reached for the door handle. "I'm so sorry, I'll just—" Click. The locks engaged. Her stomach dropped. "Why did you lock the door?" she asked carefully. The driver didn't answer. The man beside her finally spoke again. "What is your name?" Amina swallowed. "Amina Okafor." "And why," he asked slowly, "did you enter my car?" "I told you," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I thought it was a taxi." Silence filled the car's fire. Rain hammered the roof. The driver suddenly pulled away from the curb. Amina's eyes widened. "Wait, where are we going?" No answer. Her pulse raced. "Stop the car," she said. Still nothing. She turned to the man beside her. "Look, I don't know who you are, but you need to let me out." His eyes didn't move from her face. "Do you know who I am?" "No." The faintest hint of amusement touched his lips. "Interesting." Amina's fear turned to anger. "This isn't funny." The driver finally spoke. "Boss." The man raised one finger. The driver went silent again. The car moved through dark Seoul streets like a shadow. Amina forced herself to stay calm. Listen, she said, voice tight. I'm just a nurse trying to get home. I'm not part of whatever this is. He leaned slightly closer. Most people in this city recognize my car. I just moved here 6 months ago, she snapped. And you don't watch the news? I work 14-hour shifts. I barely watch sleep. For the first time, he seemed genuinely curious. You're a nurse? Yes. Another pause. Then suddenly, the driver slammed the brakes. Tires screeched. Amina gasped. Outside, two black SUVs had blocked the road. Men stepped out, all wearing dark coats. One of them raised a weapon. The driver cursed. Boss. The man beside her finally sighed. So they found us. Amina's blood ran cold. Found. Who? He turned to her calmly. Unfortunately for you, Miss Okafor, you entered the car of a man with many enemies. Gunfire exploded. Glass shattered. Amina screamed and ducked. Stay down, the driver shouted. Bullets tore through the night. Amina's mind raced. This couldn't be real. She turned toward the man beside her. Who are you? Another shot blasted the windshield. The driver swerved violently. The man beside her finally answered. I'm Jae-Hyun. Amina stared at him. That doesn't mean anything to me. He studied her reaction carefully. Then he said quietly, head of the Cheon Syndicate. Her stomach dropped. Even she knew that name, the most powerful criminal organization in Seoul. Your Mafia? More gunshots. The car sped forward, smashing past one of the SUVs. The driver yelled, we're not going to outrun them. Jae-Hyun turned toward Amina calmly. Can you handle blood? I'm a nurse. Good. Before she could ask why, he opened the glove compartment and pulled out a gun. Her eyes widened. Oh no. He handed her a medical kit instead. Relax. Another bullet slammed into the door. The driver grunted in pain. Amina saw it immediately. Blood spreading through his sleeve. You're hit. The driver growled through clenched teeth. Just a scratch. It's not a scratch, she shouted. Jae-in looked at her. Help him. Amina didn't hesitate. Pull over. We can't stop, the driver said. You'll pass out if I don't stop the bleeding. Jae-in gave a quiet order. Do it. The car swerved into a dark alley. Gunfire faded. For the moment, Amina grabbed the driver's arm. Hold still. She ripped open the kit and worked quickly. Bullet went through, she muttered. That's good. The driver winced. You call that good? You're alive, aren't you? Jae-Hyun watched silently. She was calm, focused, not screaming, not panicking. Most civilians would have lost their minds, but she worked like the chaos didn't exist. Amina tied the bandage tightly. There. The driver exhaled. Better. She leaned back, heart pounding. Then she looked at Jae-Hyun. This is insane. He tilted his head slightly. You're surprisingly composed. I'm in shock, she replied dryly. For the first time, he chuckled softly. Outside, the rain finally began to slow, but sirens echoed somewhere in the distance. Amina rubbed her forehead. Once you drop me off, I'm pretending this night never happened. Jae-Hyun studied her quietly. Then he said something that made her stomach drop. I'm afraid that won't be possible. Her eyes narrowed. What does that mean? His voice was calm. Anyone who saw you tonight will assume you are connected to me. So my enemies will hunt you. Her breath caught. You're joking. I never joke about survival. The realization slowly sank in. You're saying because I got into the wrong car, my life is in danger? Yes. Amina stared at him in disbelief. This is ridiculous. He leaned closer, voice lower. Your only safe place now is with me. She shook her head immediately. No way. You have another solution? Silence. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. Finally, she whispered, You're ruining my life. Jae-Hyun's gaze softened just slightly. No, he said quietly. I might be saving it. Amina stared at the man whose car she had entered by mistake. a mafia boss, a dangerous stranger, and somehow the only person standing between her and the enemies now hunting her. Outside, the storm clouds finally parted, but Amina Okafor had just stepped into a much darker storm, and there was no turning back.